Very good evening. You're watching Primetime News on TV1. Bringing you the news this evening, I am Stephen Machado.
And I'm Onel Kamaratunga. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for tonight.
The headlines on Newsfirst.
Sri Lanka considers death penalty for drug-related crimes. Underworld figure Kanjipani Imran's relative shot in Maligavatta. SLPP General Secretary arrested over IGP assassination remark. Later given bail by court. Maitri Gunaratne claims 22nd Amendment benefits senior judges. Statements targeting judges threaten judicial independence, says Jagat Abenaika. World's #1 in javelin throw visits Newsfirst.
On to those stories in detail now. The possibility of imposing the death penalty for drug-related offences has been discussed at the Ratama Ekata National Operations Council as the government intensifies efforts to combat the country's growing narcotics crisis.
The high-level meeting was held this morning at the Presidential Secretariat under the patronage of President Anurukumara Dissanayake.
The Ratama Ekata National Operations Council focused on the growing threat posed by dangerous narcotics, noting that the problem has now expanded far beyond individual drug uses and has become a serious challenge to the country's economic and social well-being. Discussions highlighted that the vast wealth generated through drug trafficking has created a criminal ecosystem that now poses a significant threat to the national economy, the tourism industry, and the country's moral and social fabric. The need to enforce stricter laws to create a society that rejects drug trafficking and related criminal activity was also among the key issues discussed by the National Operations Council. President Dissanayake emphasized the need for both practical action and a rapid transformation in public attitudes if the country is to eradicate the narcotics menace. The president also noted that the government expects the active participation of religious leaders, parents and community organizations in this national effort. The meeting was informed that the amendments relating to narcotics control and the granting of bail have already been drafted and are in the final stages of completion. The proposed legal reforms are expected to be gazetted shortly before being presented to Parliament. It was also revealed that the process of issuing government analyst reports, which had been a major cause of delays in narcotics-related court cases, has been significantly accelerated. In July alone, 6,414 government analyst reports were issued. To expedite legal proceedings involving prison inmates affected by delays in forensic reports, the President instructed officials to introduce a clear classification system based on the quantity of narcotics seized, including categories such as below 5 grams and below 10 grams. He also directed the Department of Government Analysts, the Police and the Department of Prisons to establish stronger coordination mechanisms to ensure that the suspects are produced before courts immediately after the necessary reports are received. The President further reviewed measures being taken to expand the capacity and facilities of the Department of Government Analyst. Officials informed the meeting that assistance from the Sri Lanka Navy is being utilized as well. President Dissanayake also instructed officials to allocate the necessary funds for the installation of surveillance camera systems. The current situation inside prisons was another key area of discussion. The council was informed that the recent unrest at the prisons in Negombo, Mahara, Magazine, Pallansena and Kuruvita had resulted in property damage exceeding 255 million rupees. The meeting also discussed increasing the involvement of psychiatric professionals within prisons as part of efforts to reduce violent and disruptive behavior among inmates.
A man was killed in a shooting incident that took place this afternoon along Sangarajamawata in Maligavatta, Colombo.
Now, the police said the victim has been identified as a close relative of notorious organized crime figure Kanjipani Imran.
The shooting took place between 1:15 p.m. and 1:20 p.m. today. The victim was targeted while standing near a hardware store on Sangarajamawata when the gunman launched the attack. Police said the assailant had used a .38 caliber revolver and fired 3 rounds at the victim. The deceased has been identified as Mohammad Azmi Mohideen, a resident of Kirulapana. He was a 54-year-old businessman. Police further stated that the victim was a close relative of Kanjipani Imran. A joint police investigation has been launched to track down the gunman who fled the scene following the shooting. Investigators suspect that the killing may have been the result of an ongoing rivalry between organized criminal gangs. Meanwhile, 3 suspects, including notorious organized crime figure Dhanushka Kaushalya, alias Ratmalane Saima, who was arrested in Malaysia, were brought back to Sri Lanka this afternoon. The suspects were escorted to the country by a special police team led by Assistant Superintendent of Police Rohan Olugala. Police said one of the 3 suspects is believed to be a key associate of Kanjipani Imran. The arrests were carried out during a special operation jointly conducted by Sri Lankan and Malaysian law enforcement authorities.
Ishara Sewandi, the woman alleged to be the principal suspect in the assassination of organized crime figure Ganemulla Sanjiva, has been remanded until the 21st of August after being produced before the Colombo Alutkade Magistrates Court today.
The suspect, Ishara Sewandi, had been under detention orders and questioned by the Colombo Crimes Division for nearly 10 months. Ganemulla Sanjiva was shot dead on the 19th of February last year inside courtroom number 5 of the Colombo Alutkade Magistrates Court. Investigations subsequently revealed that the firearm allegedly used in the killing had been brought into the courthouse premises by Ishara Sewandi. Several months after the shooting, the suspect was arrested while allegedly hiding in Nepal and was later brought back to Sri Lanka to face investigations.
Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna General Secretary Attorney at Law Sagara Karyavasam was released on bail by Kadwala Magistrate Aruna Buddhadasa after being produced before court. The court ordered that Karyavasam be released on 2 surety bails of 2 million rupees each.
The magistrate also imposed a foreign travel ban on the suspect. SLPP General Secretary Sagara Karyavasam was arrested earlier today by the Colombo Central Crimes Investigation Bureau in connection with an ongoing investigation into remarks he made during a media briefing regarding an alleged attempt to assassinate the Inspector General of Police in public.
Attorney at Law Sagara Karyavasam was summoned to the Colombo Central Crimes Investigation Bureau this morning in connection with a statement he made regarding an alleged attempt to assassinate the Inspector General of Police on a public roadway. The statement in question had been made on the 3rd of August. Presenting the suspect before court, investigating officers informed the magistrate that Karyavasam had been arrested and produced under provisions of the Penal Code, including allegations relating to abetment of an offence under Section 102, abetment of an offence punishable by death under Section 108, abetment of acts against the Democratic Socialist Republic under Section 114, provoking disaffection against the government under Section 120, and issuing threats against a public officer under Section 186. Investigators further stated that 3 complaints, including one from the Inspector General of Police, had been received in relation to the matter. They informed court that following the submission of facts on the 6th of August, further investigations were carried out before the suspect was arrested today. Investigating officers told court that the suspect's statement amounted to incitement and could be interpreted as encouraging the commission of a criminal act, thereby posing a threat to the life of the Inspector General of Police. Thereafter, President's Counsel Sampath Mendis, appearing on behalf of suspect Karyavasam, moved for bail. The magistrate observed that as a senior political figure and party leader, the suspect had a responsibility to use language carefully in a civilized society and in a manner that promotes public order. The magistrate further noted that the statement had been made before the media and that the remarks suggesting that the Inspector General of Police could be killed on the road was extremely serious. Responding on behalf of the suspect, President's Counsel Sampath Mendis argued that the allegations contained in the complaint were unclear. The President's Counsel also maintained that charges under Section 296 of the Penal Code relating to murder could not be sustained in relation to a person who is alive. He further submitted that the suspect's statement was not intended to mean that, quote-unquote, the Inspector General of Police should be killed, but rather that he, quote-unquote, did not wish to see such a thing happen. In response, the magistrate stated that the law is duty-bound to protect both human life and property. The magistrate observed that even telling a judge, quote, "You should not continue hearing this case because you could be attacked and killed," unquote, would constitute an extremely serious matter. The magistrate then questioned whether the suspect intended to express regret and apologize for the statement made. At that point, President's Counsel Mendes informed court that the suspect wished to express regret to the Inspector General of Police regarding the incident. The magistrate again inquired whether the suspect was offering an apology. In response, President's Counsel Mendes reiterated that the suspect was expressing regret over the incident but stopped short of offering an apology.
Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna National Organizer Namal Rajapaksa expressed his views today at the Ganemulla Rajamahaviharaya regarding the arrest of Sagara Karyawasam.
On one hand, there is an increase in organized crime, but has the Inspector General of Police or the police taken any action to prevent them? But as soon as the General Secretary of the party, Sagara Karyawasam, makes a statement, they conduct investigations very swiftly and summon him to give a statement. When an issue arises regarding public safety, the police do not take action, but they act rapidly against a party General Secretary. That means the government is clearly using the police as a political tool. That is precisely what Sagara Karyawasam said.
The Court of Appeal today fixed the 25th of August for the further consideration of intervening petitions filed seeking permission to present submissions in connection with the writ petition filed by former State Intelligence Service Director Suresh Saleh challenging his arrest and detention by the Criminal Investigation Department. The matter was taken up before a bench comprising Court of Appeal President Justice Rohanta Besuria and Justice Priyantha Fernando.
Appearing for petitioner Suresh Saleh, President's Counsel Sanjeeva Jayawardena argued that the Janak De Silva Commission appointed to examine matters related to the Easter Sunday attacks had clearly stated that investigations should be conducted free from political interference. However, he told court the current leader of the House, Bimal Ratnayaka, had stated in Parliament that members of the Catholic community had requested the appointment of Shani Abesekara and Ravi Senaviratna to conduct investigations into the Easter Sunday attacks. President's Counsel Jayawardena further argued that Buddhist clergy did not make similar requests during investigations into incidents such as the Arantalava massacre or the attack on the Temple of the Tooth Relic, and alleged that undue influence had been exercised in relation to the current investigation. Translated submission made by President's Counsel Sanjeeva Jayawardena.
My Lords, Article 3.1 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights Act states that no individual should be subjected to discrimination on religious or ethnic grounds. Parliament's Leader of the House, Minister Bimal Ratnayaka, has stated in Parliament that it was Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit who requested the appointment of Shani Abesekara and Ravi Senaviratna to those positions. It is inappropriate for religious leaders to intervene in political activities. Shani Abesekara and Ravi Senaviratna themselves have stated in affidavits submitted to the Supreme Court that they were involved in active politics. In those affidavits, they stated that they were associated with the retired police collective of the National People's Power. How can such individuals conduct this investigation? The Janak De Silva Commission clearly recommended that political interference in criminal investigations is inappropriate. The Commission also stated that the independence of the judiciary and the Attorney General's Department should not be compromised. That position is correct. The Arantalava massacre took place. The Temple of the Tooth was attacked. At those times, the Mahanayaka Theras did not ask the government to appoint investigators of their choosing to conduct those investigations.
Deputy Solicitor General Suharshi Herath, appearing on behalf of the Attorney General, objected to the consideration of the intervening petitions. Translated submission made by Deputy Solicitor General Suharshi Herath.
My Lords, I object to the consideration of these intervening petitions. Such petitions cannot be entertained at this stage. Intervening petitions can only be considered if notice is first issued on the main petition. The manner in which these intervening petitioners have approached the court is problematic. Apart from the Cardinal, all other intervening petitioners have come before court in support of Suresh Saleh. I have already filed preliminary objections on behalf of the respondents to the petition filed by Suresh Saleh. If those preliminary objections are upheld and the main petition is dismissed, what purpose would these intervening petitions serve? We will present the legal position regarding these intervening petitions before court on the next hearing date.
Accordingly, the Court of Appeal ordered that the intervening petitions be called on August 25 and directed the Deputy Solicitor General to present the respondent's position on the matter on that date. When the matter was taken up today, Attorney-at-Law Bhupathi Kahatuduwa appeared on behalf of intervening petitioner Venerable Thiniyawala Palitatera, while Attorney-at-Law Ashakabaran made submissions on behalf of intervening petitioner Venerable Vepata Ira Hemalokatera.
President's Counsel Maitri Gunaratna alleged today that the 22nd constitutional amendment has been introduced with the objective of extending the retirement age of 3 judges, including the Chief Justice.
We intend to challenge this amendment in court and we will certainly proceed with that action. When we file our petition, we will point out that there are individuals who will immediately benefit from these amendments. In my view, 3 judges, including the Chief Justice, will directly benefit from this amendment through an extension of their tenure by a further 2 years. Because they stand to gain a direct benefit, we will argue that they should not hear this case. The Chief Justice cannot hear this case. There are also 2 or 3 other senior judges who would directly benefit from these amendments, and they too should not hear the matter. If those judges are unable to hear the case, then it will have to be determined by the next most senior judges. At present, there is already a Supreme Court determination delivered by a bench which included former Chief Justice Murdu Fernando and Justice Buneka Aluvihare. That determination clearly stated that if the retirement age of judges is to be extended, the matter must be submitted to a referendum. That is a determination delivered by 3 Supreme Court judges. Given the existence of that determination, this amendment cannot be simply passed in its present form. If it is to proceed, it would have to be considered by a 5-judge bench. In that event, a bench consisting of 5 judges who do not stand to benefit from the amendment would have to hear the case without the participation of the Chief Justice or any other judges who may receive a direct benefit from it. That is our position. We believe the judiciary itself is being drawn into a matter that directly affects its own members. We therefore urge the Chief Justice and all judges who may stand to benefit from these amendments not to involve themselves in hearing what would effectively be their own case.
Attorney-at-Law Jagat Abenayaka states that statements made by certain individuals targeting judges constitute an impact on the independence of the judiciary.
It appears that various parties are presenting their views in different ways regarding the proposals brought forward to extend the tenure of judges. There is nothing wrong with that. However, among them, we see some parties targeting judges personally or targeting their ordinary conduct to make various defamatory and sometimes accusatory statements. What happens as a result of these statements is an impact on the independence of the judiciary. This occurs because such defamatory or accusatory statements obstruct the space available for these judges to carry out their judicial duties without influence. That is precisely what it means when we say judicial independence is lost. Therefore, action is needed to be taken regarding this matter. Unfortunately, judges who are currently serving do not have the scope to act on this themselves. Usually in situations like this, the Bar Association of Sri Lanka steps forward. The Bar Association of Sri Lanka intervenes to protect the rights of the judges, especially in instances where a threat is posed to the independence of the judiciary. Accordingly, we expect the Bar Association of Sri Lanka to act in that manner in this instance as well. I have made a request to the Bar Association to discuss this at the upcoming Executive Committee meeting and take appropriate action.
Sri Lanka නීති සංගමය ඒ ආකාරයට කටයුතු කළ යුතුයි කියලා අපි අපේක්ෂා කරනවා. මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් මම නීති සංගමයෙන් ඉල්ලීමක් කළා තියෙනවා. එළඹෙන විධායක කමිටු රැස්වීමකදී මේ ගැන සාකච්ඡා කළා කිසියම් ක්‍රියාමාර්ගයක් ගන්න කියලා.
From a small village dream to the pinnacle of world athletics.
Romesh Saranga has achieved what no Sri Lankan athlete has ever achieved before. Now ranked world #1 in javelin, the record-breaking star joined Newsfirst to reflect on an extraordinary journey, historic triumphs and the Olympic dream that lies ahead. Romesh Saranga spoke to Newsfirst Vindana Prasad earlier this evening.
Joining us today is the world #1 in javelin throw, Romesh Saranga, seated to my left, and the man who guided him to the top of the world rankings, his coach Tony Prasanna, seated to my right. This has been an extraordinary journey. You are now the world's #1. I would like to hear about your achievements in the Diamond League and your Commonwealth Games gold medal, the emotions those moments brought you, and what you would like to say to your fans in Sri Lanka and around the world who are watching you today.
ඔබේ රන් පදක්කම ගැන වෙන්වෙන්ව ඔබට දැනුණු හැඟීම සහ මේ මොහොතේ රටේ ලෝකයේ ඔබ බලන් ඉන්න ඔබේ ආදරණීය ප්‍රේක්ෂකීන්ට කියන්නට තියෙන දේ කියන්න.
ඇත්තටම ගොඩක් ලොකු ගමනක් ආවේ.
It has been a very long journey. I have worked extremely hard since my school days because I fully committed myself to this sport. There were many sacrifices and many challenges. During my school years, my day often began at 4 a.m. with training before school. And after school, I would train again, only returning home around 4 p.m. or later. I have dedicated years of my life to this sport. Since the year I first took up javelin, I have achieved a personal best every single year. Most recently, in 2026, I threw 92.62 meters, which became a Sri Lankan record and a Diamond League record. At the same time, I became the first Sri Lankan to win a gold medal in the Commonwealth Games in this event. I could not quite reach the Games record because of the weather conditions there, but I am extremely happy with what I achieved. However, I do not believe the journey ends here. There is still one expectation that many Sri Lankans have. I feel true satisfaction will come only when I achieve that ultimate goal.
බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන එක මෙඩල් එකක් තියෙනවා. අනිවාර්යෙන් මේ මෙඩල් එක දින්නට පස්සේ තමයි හිතට සැනසීමක් එන්නේ.
අපිට මේ 92.6න් එහාට එහෙම නැත්නම් ලෝක වාර්තාව කියන බලාපොරොත්තුව ඔබෙක කරගන්න තියෙන බලාපොරොත්තුව කොයි වගේද?
පළවෙනි වතාවට තියෙන්නේ දැන් ඊළඟට
My immediate target is the Asian record. I am determined to place my name against that record. As for the world record, I cannot say whether it will happen next year, in 2 or 3 years, or even this year. In javelin, you never know when that moment will come. The world record is close to 98 meters, which is a huge distance. To reach that level, you need to throw very close to 100 meters. But I firmly believe I can break the Asian record, and the world record remains my ultimate goal.
world record එකත් break කරන්න තමයි එකම target එක.
The man who brought the world's best javelin thrower to this stage after pulling him back away from cricket is with us today. Coach Tony Prasanna, when you first accepted this challenge, did you ever imagine he would reach this level?
මෙහෙම බලාපොරොත්තුවක් තිබුණාද?
ඒ අංක එක කරන්න තරම් ලොකු.
To be honest, we never started with the expectation of becoming world #1. We began with small targets and focused on achieving them one by one. We started with under 16, then under 18, under 20, Youth Asian Championships, Junior Asian Championships, and Junior World Championships. Those were the goals we set along the way. Rumesh consistently delivered outstanding performances. He still holds several under 16 javelin records. There were occasions when minor technical shortcomings prevented him from winning medals, including at the Youth Asian Championships. When people say we took him away from cricket, it is true that cricket is Sri Lanka's most popular sport. It can be difficult for someone from a background like Rumesh's to break through in that environment. Javelin is different. It is an individual event. No one can influence the result. If he throws a certain distance, it is measured. No one can reduce it, increase it, or take it away from him. That is why we felt this was the right event for him.
හොඳයි අපි දැනගත්තොත් මෙතනින් එහාට මම හිතන්නේ හෙටානිද්ද තවත් අභියෝගයකට යන්න සූදානම් වෙනවා. ඒ පිළිබඳව මොන වගේ බලාපොරොත්තුවක්ද ශ්‍රී ලංකා ක්‍රීඩා ලෝලීන්ට කියන්න තියෙන්නේ?
I believe the next chapter could be another historic one for Sri Lanka. Rumesh has qualified for the Diamond League final. No Sri Lankan athlete has ever competed in a Diamond League final before. In addition, the World Ultimate competition will begin this year, bringing together the world's best athletes. Those are the events that truly define the global elite. We now have the world #1 athlete, and I believe Rumesh can bring both of those titles to Sri Lanka and write a new chapter in our sporting history.
ලංකාවේ නව පරිච්ඡේදයක් ලියයි රමේෂ්.
හොඳයි රමේෂ්.
Rumesh, one final question. Sri Lankan sports fans are already looking towards 2028 with great hope. We know the weight of those expectations is on your shoulders. What is your vision and dream for the 2028 Olympic Games?
තියෙන සිහිනය සැලසුම කොයි වගේද කියලා ඔවුන්ට කියන්න ඔබට අවස්ථාව තියෙනවා.
ඇත්තටම මේ අවුරුද්දේ
To be honest, if the Olympic Games were taking place this year, or even a month from now, I believe I would win the gold medal because of the level of consistency I have achieved. By 2028, my goal is to throw even further, achieve an even higher average, win the Olympic gold medal and break the Olympic record. That is my sole focus. I am also very happy that, after cricket, I have been able to bring this kind of joy to the people of Sri Lanka through another sport. Many Sri Lankans came to watch me compete in countries such as England, Italy and the Czech Republic. Even when there were only a few Sri Lankans in the crowd, their support meant everything to me. I want to thank everyone who has stood by me, and I promise the people of Sri Lanka that in 2028, I will bring home the medal that you have all been waiting for.
ඉතින් ගොඩක් ස්තුතියි ඔයගොල්ලෝ මාත් එක්ක ඉන්නවට. ඉතින් ඔයගොල්ලන්ට සතුටක් දෙන්න පුළුවන් අනිවාර්යෙන් 2028 ඔයගොල්ලෝ බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන මෙඩල් එක අනිවාර්යෙන් මම ලංකාවට අරන් එනවා.
Weather first.
The weather is expected to remain unsettled with rain-bearing clouds, gusty winds and rough seas affecting large parts of the country, prompting authorities to urge both motorists and fishermen to exercise caution.
Krishan Devsagayam has more for us. Krishan?
Thank you, Onelka and Stevin. Well, yes, we have a little bit of everything when it comes to the weather, except I think for the sun. So let's start off with the rain. Now, the Department of Meteorology has forecast intermittent showers or thunder showers in the western Sabaragamuwa provinces as well as in the districts of Kandy, Nuwara, Galle and Mathura, as you can see from the intense blue spotting on your screen. Now, when it comes to the wind, fairly strong winds are ranging between 30 to 40 kilometers per hour may occur at times in the north central, northwestern, central and southern provinces as well as in the Trincomalee district. Now, the Department of Meteorology has also issued a red warning advising the fishing and naval communities not to venture into the sea areas extending from Mathura to Pothuwil across Hambantota until further notice. Now, according to the department, wind speeds in those areas could exceed 60 kilometers per hour at times, creating dangerous conditions for maritime activities. Now, the sea areas off the coast from Batiklo to Trincomalee to Kankasanture, Mana and Chilau, as well as from Galle to Mathura, may also experience winds reaching up to 50 kilometers per hour at times.
Hong Kong police have arrested 147 people after dismantling a triad syndicate suspected of setting up centers to coordinate bank accounts and handle $76 million in allegedly illicit proceeds. Jayamal Ratnayaka has more on this story.
Jayamal?
Yes, thank you, Onelka and Stevin. Of course, as they mentioned, police in Hong Kong have allegedly dismantled a syndicate laundering over 600 million Hong Kong dollars, nearly $76 million in crime proceeds during a two-day crackdown on triad activities. Officers raided multiple illegal premises, arresting 93 men and 54 women, totaling 147 individuals on suspicion of offences including money laundering, operating illegal gambling dens and running drug dens.
Hong Kong police said that they had conducted a citywide operation codenamed Rapid Horse over the previous 2 days against a syndicate allegedly operating drug and illegal gambling dens in Kowloon and the New Territories. Acting Senior Superintendent Oh Yung Tak of the Organised Crime and Triad Bureau said the syndicate had been operating illicit drug and gambling-related activities in Hong Kong and attempting to launder the proceeds through local bank accounts. Police also arrested 147 people, 93 men and 54 women, aged between 19 and 72, including the syndicate's alleged mastermind, 9 co-members and 12 other affiliates. 31 of those arrested were suspected of having triad backgrounds. Police also seized assets worth about 5 million Hong Kong dollars, comprising of 3.65 million Hong Kong dollars in cash and other items worth of 1.3 million Hong Kong dollars. The items included vehicles, jewelry, luxury watches, weapons, drugs and gambling equipment. The group had allegedly laundered nearly 600 million Hong Kong dollars in illicit proceeds between January 2025 and August 2026. Members had long recruited drug abusers, gamblers and people seeking quick cash to act as stooge account holders at premises operated by the group, offering them incentives ranging from hundreds to thousands of Hong Kong dollars.
We now draw your attention to some tragic and developing news from South America. According to the US Geological Survey, a large earthquake has shaken western Colombia with a magnitude of 7.4. According to Reuters news agency, Mayor Alejandro Eder says at least 20 buildings collapsed in the city of Cali, with people still trapped inside. United States Geological Survey has released a shake map of the 7.4 magnitude quake that struck western Colombia. It shows that the epicenter occurred 107 kilometers deep in San Jose del Palma in the nation's Chocó region, with both strong and very strong shaking recorded across a much wider area. Now, Colombia's President Abelardo de la Espriella, who was sworn in just days ago, says he has personally taken charge of the emergency response following the 7.4 magnitude earthquake. Writing on X, he says, quote, "I have ordered the establishment of a unified command post to coordinate the response to the damage and assist those affected." He adds, and I quote, "I will also be in Pereira in person to stand with those affected and monitor the government's response. You are not alone. The government is here and taking action," unquote. Colombia's Civil Aviation Authority says operations have been suspended at least in 7 airports in Colombia following the quake. The agency says it will, quote-unquote, continue to monitor the situation and will report any developments in a timely manner. In more foreign news, Hibakusha of the atomic bombing of the city of Nagasaki has said that world leaders should have worked together to avoid wars instead of making war preparations, as she is concerned that global reliance on nuclear deterrence is gaining momentum. Hibakusha is a Japanese word that translates literally to, quote, explosion-affected people, and specifically refers to the survivors of the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945.
Sunday marked 81 years since the US dropped an atomic bomb over Nagasaki. During the annual peace ceremony, the city's mayor said that nuclear weapons can never coexist with humanity. Nagasaki fell silent at 11:02 a.m., the exact time the atomic bomb exploded on the 9th of August 1945. It was estimated to have killed more than 73,000 people by the end of the year. Many survivors suffered from cancer and other diseases related to radiation exposure. Prime Minister Takaichi Sane and representatives from 98 countries attended the ceremony. Nagasaki Mayor Suzuko Shiro placed an updated list of atomic bomb victims at the memorial site. The list holds 204,708 names. It includes 2,773 who died or whose deaths were confirmed over the past 12 months. In his peace declaration, Suzuki referred to the experience of now-deceased survivor Yoshida Katsuji, as Yoshida continued his peace activism for many years despite suffering facial burns. Throughout Sunday, people across Japan remember the tragedy and reaffirm the importance of peace.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight.
Thank you for watching.
Good night.